Sticks and stones make shards of bone, but words cut through the surface. That's nothing compared to the acts of despair that we see go without purpose. Cut their limbs.
Suds and Buds, Season 3 bonus episode, Longboard Island Lager, with special guest Bob James of Silent Theory.
Alright, try this thing. Kona Brewing Company again. Where's it?
Clinkety clink.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, that's definitely good. It's like just like the right amount of bitter and fruity.
Mine's like water.
Very
Compared
good.
to the other ones, anyway. It doesn't like make, you know what I mean?
No
The twingy
twinge.
fucking grapefruit fucking. Oh, that's good.
Oh yeah, this one's a 9 for me. It's like the best one we got.
It's, I'll say it's 2% higher than the last fucking Kona Brewing Company we got, so definitely. It tastes about the same. It's like I said, smooth as fuck. It's like kind of like bubbly water.
Right. Well, we're here with Silent Theory. Well, one member. Are you rhythm guitar or lead?
Rhythm guitar.
Okay, nice. So, how long have you been with, or when did you guys get started, actually?
So Silent Theory started late 2009, actually. Played our first show in November 2009.
Nice.
Yeah. And before that, Mitch, myself, and towards the end of it, Scott all played in another band. It kind of dissolved and run its course and stuff, and then that just kind of morphed into Silent Theory.
Nice. So, are you a one instrument guy, or do you play other instruments other than guitar?
With Silent Theory, generally I play just guitar. I do very, very basic keyboard stuff. I grew up playing violin and cello, or viola and cello, excuse me. But, I don't know. I will attempt to play anything with strings typically.
Nice. Wish I had that talent, man.
Yeah, I'll say I've been trying to play guitar forever, and I'm all like little tiny stuff. Just like,
Stay
yeah,
the
all right.
Right, writing music's gotta be fun. How do you guys write your music, actually? Who writes it? Or?
It's pretty collaborative. I would say a bulk of the music, at least foundation, comes from Scott. Mitch does bring a lot to the table, typically on like piano, surprisingly enough. Mitch, as an adult, has taught himself how to play piano and guitar and stuff, so he's not just a drummer. But yeah, Scott does a bulk of the musical foundation, and then we'll just spend hours playing it over and over and over again and just kind of tweaking it here and there.
Perfect.
And then once we kind of start getting it to a point where we're pretty happy with the direction it's going, Dakota will kind of take over and do some lyrics, and then we'll do some fine tuning as we get there. But that's a bulk of the songs, but
Nice.
seems to be working out.
So, is there a particular show or venue or person that you've opened for that was like really big for you, or kind of starstruck at all?
I don't know. I mean, there's a certain amount of that. Like, I am a very huge fan of music. I love music. I love being a part of it. I love going to shows. And so there's definitely been some of those shows where I played with people that I really looked up to, but I don't know. I've never really fangirled too much. I mean, it happens to the best of us from time to time.
Right.
I think at least for a majority of the group, this last tour we went on this last spring, we played the Machine Shop in Flint, Michigan, and that was pretty fun. That was a really cool venue, kind of historic. It's only been around, well, sadly it's been around for like 20 years now because they opened in like 2002, 2003, something like that. But yeah, it's just one of those. It's a small club. It's seedy part of town. It's super cool, and like every big band, like that's a stopping point for them and stuff. So it's kind of cool to be able to play that.
Yeah. So I seen in April you guys went on tour, a short tour with Head PE.
Yeah.
How was that? You guys went over to Michigan or Minnesota?
Yeah, we drove 2 days over to the Midwest, did like 10 days with them, and then drove 2 days back. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I will say, I shamefully I didn't realize that they were still cranking out new music, and honestly,
Right.
their new music is pretty killer. They just released an album, and I would encourage people to go check it out. But yeah, I mean, I will say that as far as like bigger bands go and stuff, and people that we've worked with, they are among the most professional. They were all, for the most part, super polite. I mean, everybody has their days.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for the most part, they were all super nice, very, very professional, and like they don't screw around. Like they're there to play shows. And they play shows every day that they're on tour.
Yeah, they're great. I've actually seen them here twice.
Yeah.
And yeah, that first one was dope. But the second one, I don't know what happened with the promoting, but yeah, it got messed up and it was just a shit show. Like he was pissed even. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was. But the first show I've seen, he's way better like live than even on his records. Honestly, like his old stuff, his new stuff is way better.
Yeah. I mean, the current band that he's got right now is just they're pretty solid. Like they're really, really good guys.
Oh yeah, and he's actually from Idaho too.
Yeah, he lives down in Nampa, or just outside Boise.
Yeah, so didn't your guys' lead singer come from Boise as well?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, his dad was in the military, and so he kind of bounced around all over the place. But he went to high school and like claims Boise as kind of his
Hometown.
his home. His parents still live down there and stuff, and so yeah, we stole him from that area.
Yeah, so you moved down here like right at, because we watched a little bit of an interview before, and you guys like came down, like did a bunch of music. You just moved down here like right after that, or was it like a process? You guys had to like.
It was surprisingly quick because we had spent the better part of 2 years like auditioning singers, and like we had a singer that was with us for quite a while, but it wasn't a good fit. Like he wasn't happy, we weren't happy, and the music it felt forced. And so, when we parted ways with that, then we auditioned a few other singers, and like they were all phenomenal guys. It didn't feel right and stuff. And then we were almost to the point of kind of giving up, because I mean, I tried singing and it didn't go very well. Like I'm a really good background singer.
That's background.
I know where I shine. And so we came across Dakota. It was one of those like a friend of a friend of a friend was like, hey, you guys don't have a singer, and this guy I work with, his son's a singer, and his band just kind of dissolved because one of their players was having trouble or something, and had some life stuff going on, and so like they were kind of
just disbanded.
Yeah, and so we're like, well, I mean, couldn't hurt, like at this point, whatever. And so we got on a conference call with him, and Dakota's weird, but all in like the right kind of ways. Like I mean, we're all pretty weird dudes, and so we jived pretty well on the phone, and so he drove up from Boise, and the first practice he was there, we asked him to learn like 3 songs off of our first album, and he showed up and knew pretty much the entire album. Plus he had a couple like scrap ideas to like jam around and stuff, and so it was just one of those like we felt like he was really invested and serious. And I mean I can't exaggerate this, like the first time we started singing through a song, like we were all kind of jamming and just like looking at each other. We're like, I think this is the one. And I mean, and he's a cool dude to hang out with, which helps out a lot when you're sitting in, you're stuck in a car, confined spaces with people for a long period of time. So I don't know. It just
it worked.
It felt right.
It's easy to travel with, helps.
Yeah, and I mean,
you guys are on the road a lot.
As much as possible. We've done a couple of like national tours and like longer ones, and so we've done a couple of the tours where we just go on the road to kind of get those miles under our belt and stuff. But we try to be a little more picky and choosy about the tours that we take and like the length of tours. And it's not because we think we're above anything. Like if we got the right offer, we would go on the road for as long as it took. But Scott and Mitch both have growing families now. Mitch has a couple of kids. Scott just had his first kid a couple weeks ago. And so like we try to be cognizant of like a work-life balance kind of thing. Like we really want this to work, but in order for it to work, like their families also need to work. Like they're
gotta have balance.
So we really kind of look for those really good opportunities where we can play good shows for shorter runs and stuff, and still get the exposure and the good experiences out of it and stuff, and just kind of work it as much as we can.
Nice. So actually today I was going through and I seen that you posted a video from the Third Wheel, and I actually shared it because like it was like the last show or whatever. I don't know.
Okay.
Were you guys there for the last show or?
Yeah, for Mike Castle's last farewell.
Sucks, man. I love that venue so much.
I know, and I think they're still going to do shows, but it'll be interesting to see because I mean I hope that they can kind of keep up the steam. But I know Mike was doing a lot of the booking and promoting and like kind of was shouldering a lot of that responsibility.
Yeah, definitely made that place what it was, honestly.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, so you guys, you have this new song out, Sticks and Stones.
Yeah, we're really proud of it. It's one of those like we were just kind of jamming around, kicking around an idea, and it turned into something we were really, really proud of.
Yeah, it's killer, bro.
I watched it a lot after he showed it to me. So I heard you guys on the radio, and I'm like, oh, these are those guys? And they're like, yeah, dude, from Moscow. I was like, oh shit, dude, like kind of blew my fucking mind.
Well, shit, we could actually take a peek at that clip right now. You guys haven't seen it.
Sticks and stones make shards of bone, but words cut through the surface. That's nothing compared to the acts of despair that we see go without purpose. Cut their limbs, they'll crawl with grins to find out if it's worth it. Mother, help us please, just a gentle breeze, we really don't deserve it. Shoulders bearing too much weight, so knees begin to buckle. Replace need for fame, so now I'm ashamed. You're what they'll find among the rubble. Kings and queens go without thrones. Hey, are you getting nervous? Mother, help us please, breaking arms and knees just to keep up with the circus. Just to keep up with the... It's getting hard to sleep without that fire burning deep. Why would you take that away?
Alright. Yeah, dude, that was sweet. Yeah, say that he showed me that actually like I don't know, it was like last week, maybe it was like 3 days ago or whatever, but
I say we released it on Monday.
yeah, say it had to be pretty early.
Yeah, I watched it the day it came out.
Yeah, he showed it to me. He's like, these are the guys from Moscow, and they're coming on tomorrow. And I was all, I'm like, what, dude? I'm like, he's all, yeah. And I was like, what the fuck? And then he's like, scrolled over to like another one. It was like 3 million views. I was all like, holy shit, dude! Like, what? How did you even get a hold of these guys? Like,
and it's pretty recent too with that one. Sticks and Stones, I feel like it's gonna blow up like that too.
I really hope so.
20K in 2 days, man. That's pretty damn good. Or 3.
Yeah, we're hoping. We've so far been getting some pretty positive feedback from radio stations and program directors and stuff like that. So hopefully that continues.
So you guys have a lot of radio stations playing your music right now?
Yeah, Z-Rock plays you guys.
Yeah, I mean we just started our kind of a radio campaign with our radio guy, so he's working his contacts and just. I mean it's kind of it's a cool system the way it is because like obviously like we work with somebody because of the contacts they have, but like all he does is he just sends it out to people like, hey, what do you think? Would you play this on your station stuff? And it's kind of it's totally up to them. And so when stations pick us up, it's not like we're paying people to be on the radio and stuff. And so there is a little bit of comfort in that. So, but we had a lot of really good success with Fragile Minds. Played on a decent amount of radio stations across the country.
Nice.
Few international, like mostly internet stations, but and then Watch Me Burn, I think so far has had our biggest radio presence.
Yeah, I love that song.
But
that one and Alice, man. Alice is really, really good.
Yeah, Alice, it's a great song, and that was Dakota came from his old band. Like he had wrote that song with his old band, and when he formally joined the band, that was like our one request. We're like, we don't want to infringe on anything you guys did. We want to be respectful, but we want that song. Like, we want to record that song and stuff. And so he talked with his friend, the guitarist who wrote the music for it and stuff, and he signed off on it and stuff. And so we recorded and put on our album Delusions. And I don't know, it's a really cool, special song. Dakota has a really touching story about like he wrote those lyrics in a hospital like waiting room because his sister has been really sick on and off her whole life, and there was just one point where it got really bad. They're in like the children's area of the hospital, and he said that there was like just some Alice in Wonderland type stuff, and just trying to occupy his mind. He started writing a song, and it just kind of how it came about and stuff. And so we like to keep it around. One, because it's a really catchy song and people will love it, but it's really special to Dakota. And, so we will play that at most every show. Like sometimes we play with a little bit heavier band, and so the slower one doesn't really fit. But
yeah, that is one of my favorite songs live too. Like he really. There's emotion behind that.
He's a really good
sure.
voice, dude. Like, super good. Like, you could place that voice back, like, when, 3 Days Grace was, on the rise and all that. And you wouldn't even recognize that it was, you'd be like, oh, yeah, that sounds like it should be there. Easy, dude. Like, Breaking Benjamin and stuff like that. Like, kind of reminds me of Breaking Benjamin, that one video where you guys are in, that abandoned, warehouse-looking thing.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, is this Breaking Benjamin? He's like, no, dude, this is Silent Theory. I was like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, I always thought you guys were, kind of a cross with that. If you took Skillet's female out of her song, their band, and mixed you with the Breaking Benjamin, and had a baby.
Take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
Both really
I love
bands.
those bands, yeah.
Kind of same kind of genre, too, as you guys. So.
Yeah, like I said, I like that, it's like that older sound. Not older now, I guess, but it's, old for me. I was listening to it when I was,
early
13.
2000s, late 90s.
13 and stuff, so it's I was comfort music.
We definitely are heavily influenced by that stuff. I mean, we all love it. I mean, as far as lyrics go, Dakota, he draws a lot of inspiration and, from a few of the bigger bands of that era. Like, the bands that really kind of got him into rock and roll and writing, lyrics and stuff like that were, at first it was Linkin Park, because he kind of came from a hip-hop background, and so that was a really good medium, and he just really identified with the songs they were writing and stuff like that. And to this day, they're still one of his favorite bands.
Nice.
But Linkin Park kind of led him to Chevelle and to Tool and a bunch of those bands.
Yeah, he does kind of have a Tool
that
sound
were
too,
pretty heavy and doing stuff that was a little atypical, but still right in that pocket. He really identified with that, and how the way that they tell stories, he really just
that's the
clicks
best
with
kind of
them.
music.
So story.
Well, yeah, tearing up from a song, dude. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah, Alice is kind of like that for me. That's.
You just get the feels. You're all hold it in. Your friends right there.
Why is my hair sticking up? Yeah, I've actually seen you guys. Jeez, I don't know how many times, because I've seen you 2 times at the Third Wheel, and then I think you played Rockin' on the River a couple times.
Just once.
Just once, okay. And then you played. We got this show right here, out at the rodeo
the Rock and Ride.
Yeah, that was sick. That was a long day though. If you were,
it was so hot.
It was super hot.
I think it was 105 when we went on stage. We had a really long debate because we have it's not it's a super unique look. We don't wear costumes or anything, but we were kind of going back and forth. Well, should we dress down because it's super hot outside? We're no, we're professionals. We should just do this. So we're all wearing our pretty much black on black, jeans and boots and stuff like that.
I felt
Dakota may or may not have on mild heat stroke and stuff, so I think we'll be a little more lenient on our standards in the future.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Water.
It's the lead guitarist maybe. He always wears a sweater, a hoodie
Oh
sweater.
yes.
So he was dying.
The big guy.
Yeah, he was wearing that sweater,
Yeah,
the short sleeve sweater that day. And
Yeah.
there's no way.
I mean, that's just kind of Scott's look, though. I mean, I think since he was probably a sophomore in high school, he was never without a hoodie. I mean, just all day, every day when it's super hot outside. So, it's kind of his thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
You guys ever just get in Moscow, just get recognized all the time now, or?
A little bit. I mean, sometimes from the band. But I mean, it's also kind of tough because they're all from the Moscow-Troy area, and then I've been living in the area for 11 years now. It'll be 12 in January, so I'm more or less a local now.
Yeah.
So,
well, no, it's 13 years. Everyone knows that, dude. It's trying to jump the gun.
yeah, it's funny because around here it's kind of tough with some people because they're like, oh yeah, people we know, they're like, oh, you're in a band, that's cool. Yeah. It's like, yeah, but we think we're pretty good, and stuff. I bet you are. And so sometimes you start to wonder, oh shit, are we blowing this up and stuff? But then we have shows on our last tour. We were in Joliet, Illinois, and at this place called The Forge, and it was super cool. It was kind of like the Knitting Factory, but it had a little bit different feel to it. But it was just a super cool venue, and there's I don't even know how many, but there was a bunch of people that like showed up and they're like, yeah, we're here to see you. I was like,
Yeah,
really?
so that's
like,
a super good feeling.
are you sure you have the right band? And they're like, yeah, we love you. And like started listening to a bunch of stuff. And I felt bad because sure as shit we played. They came over to the merch table, talked for a little bit, and they're like, all right, well, we're out of here. Oh, okay. Like, you're missing a good show, I promise. And they're like, nah, it's okay. Oh, that's a bummer. Like,
Right.
I love standing for shows, especially if it's a band I don't know. Like that's how I like to find new music.
Yeah, man. Yeah, say playing with a bunch of random.
Take a shot.
Like,
and
who's
go see
this?
them.
And they're like, oh yeah, and they come out and they like blow it away. You're like, oh shit, dude.
Yeah, I
Gotta
mean you
step
never
up
know.
our
Like,
game,
I've been
yeah.
surprised a lot at live shows.
Right, like I went to see 3 Days Grace at the Knit, and they had Devour the Day. They actually had one hit song, kind of, and I went and seen them. Man, they became one of my new favorite bands.
Oh
after that.
man,
Devour the Day is the shit.
I cannot remember the name of the song, but yeah, around that time they had like a couple songs, but one in particular was really good. And I can't think of the name of it, but then they kind of at least fell off my radar for a while. But like I started seeing them on Octane and stuff again. I think they were like ramping up and really.
Yeah, I think they must have took time off in between albums or something because, yeah, I haven't heard anything new from them. So
Cool. Probably still playing.
there's been a couple times though that I've done that. Gosh, who did I just see last year? I can't remember. I've been to too many shows. That's what I do.
Vegas,
I
like all
love
of them.
shows.
So you go home like, I got work at 5 in the morning.
I don't care, pussy.
That's it.
Man up.
It's
You can
all-
go to
it's
work,
like
puke
$10 or
in me,
$15 on all. Because I know I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go have a good time. Of course, I'm gonna drink and watch them rock.
Right.
Well, no, I must decline.
I can't have a good time tonight.
Yeah, so I save some money and I have to go to work all hungover, sweaty at 5 in the morning.
Right.
Oh man, that just reminds me of the early days of the band. We used to play a lot of shows up at a place called the Grail in Post Falls, and oh man, like it was always a blast. Like we had a good time. Like the staff always treated us really well there, but we would play our show, then we'd like hang out like way too late, and then a lot of times we'd get done with the show. And then, like, I worked at like 3:30 in the morning, and so they would just drop me off at work on their way home. Scott would go
I
home
can
and
pound out
shower.
another 8-10 hours, no biggie.
Yeah, Scott would have to go open up Subway, and so he would like go home, drop everybody else off, shower, get dressed, and then he would go to work. It just made for a really long day.
Yes. Alright, going home. You ready to go? Or I haven't even slept. So,
Some
yeah,
classic
saying, so
after
how's
hours.
like you guys all like basically stuff like basic normal day jobs? Like, do they just like let you guys go because I know you're in a band? If you guys go out to tour and stuff,
You
or
know,
is it
it's
kind of
sometimes it's kind of a fight a little bit, but yeah, I mean the fact of the matter is the music industry isn't quite the same that it used to be. Like there's not as much like free money up front and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean we all do have day jobs and stuff like that, but thankfully they're usually pretty understanding when we pack up and go.
That's badass.
So what's the longest tour you guys have been on then?
I think the longest one was, oddly enough, probably our first tour, and we were gone for about 3 months, and it was kind of a weirdly planned tour. I don't know, there was a lot of balls dropped in the booking and stuff, but I mean, we played some really cool venues, but it was just one of those where we'd drive like 6 or 8 hours this way, and then we play a show, and then we play like another 6 or 8 hours this way, and then it was just a lot of zigzagging back and forth, and a lot of like
do this in a straight
6 and 10 hour drives and stuff, and so just. I mean, I don't sleep a whole lot, and I usually get up pretty early, and so like what we do is we play the show, drive as far as we could before everybody was super tired, park the bus. Well, we had a bus at the time. Park the bus at like a rest stop or something like that, and then I would just get up at like 10 in the morning and just continue driving while everybody else slept.
Let's get this done. Let's get this bread. Well, yeah, and you show up early, gives you guys a lot more time to set up and like make sure gives you good name when you're on time. like, you want to show up late, like, hey, we're here.
You'd be surprised. There's a lot of bands that do that. But I mean, we really try not to be that band. Like we strive to be professional. Like sometimes we have our shortcomings, but yeah, I mean we really try and like be a band that the staff doesn't hate.
Right.
Yeah, and then and then you guys like don't really even get a sick day. Like if there's like a day you feel like shit and you got like a show, like you just gotta go do it. Like kind of like for the fans, like I feel bad. Like just.
I mean, it'd
if
be
you
alright
pay
if
for
you weren't
tickets
singing.
and you're like
Yeah.
throwing up. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna go out, just won't eat nothing. Dry heave when I'm playing the guitar and head banging, or like, You guys ever had like a day like that where it's like you just don't feel
Yeah, I mean, we definitely had a few of those days where somebody's been a little sick or something like that, and we just kind of, we'll adjust because like we really do try and like put a lot of effort into our live show. It doesn't always, pan out the way we want it to, but like we really do try and put on a great show because more often than not, people are paying money to come into these shows, and if somebody's kind enough to spend their money to come see us, we want to make sure that they get their value out of it. I honestly, the most current example would be this last show we played at the Third Wheel, because Dakota is living out of town now, and so he had some travel issues and stuff like that, and so basically he was in town like the day of the show and taking off the next morning. But we were also shooting a music video. We were shooting the Sticks and Stones video.
Oh, shit.
And so,
oh man,
like, we got everything set up, and like we ran through and did a bunch of like the band individual shots and everything like that. And then basically he showed up and we rocked out music video stuff for like 5 or 6 hours straight, and then got in the car and immediately like went down to the Third Wheel and then played the show. But like by the time we got to being on stage, we were all just pretty spanked because it'd been hot. And, we'd already had a full day of work.
plus
stuff,
playing
and
on
we're
the
all pretty
show,
sore and stuff because just music videos are fun, and I will always enjoy doing them, especially like if we can get quality product that turns out. Like we've been pretty blessed so far with the people we've gotten to work with for our videos.
Yeah, so they look really good. The ones I've seen.
And so it just. But yeah, the thing about it is it's so many. Like it's basically you play through the song and they're like, all right, let's do it again. And then you play through the song and they're like, okay, let's from the top. And just like every time but the whole time like none of the equipment is actually like plugged in or turned on because that would just be chaos trying to record with that. And so you got this backtrack playing and you're just like
trying to like make sure you're like.
But the whole time you're trying to really sell the performance when you have like. Anywhere between like 3 and 10 people just staring at you, but they're all kind of like holding cameras, moving around. Like,
I'll just pretend they're not there.
Normally, like a live show, you really feed off that energy from the crowd and stuff like that, and you gotta manufacture that doing the video. But I don't know, it's good. I mean, this last video was it was a completely different experience for us because we worked with Fragile Minds. We worked with a guy named Eric Foss, and I mean going into it, he shot a couple music videos. We loved him, and he was a really nice guy, and he was willing to like work with us and stuff like that. And he seemed a little meek about it because he was like, "Well, I just don't want to like undersell you guys or like anything with that." And I mean, couldn't have been happier with how it turned out. But that was one of the situations where we were all it was pretty collaborative. It was like, all right, well, you guys want to do this? Sure, okay, we'll do that and stuff. And then. Our next couple videos we did with Make Waves Entertainment's John Kuntz out of Spokane. And again, super great videos. We're very happy with how they turned out. And he was a little bit more in the director-producer kind of role. Like he definitely had a vision like when he came in.
Storyboard kind of stuff, or
not completely drawn out, but like before the Storm video, he definitely had like his shot list and stuff like that, and that was a little new for us because we collaborated on the story. We told him kind of what we were going for, and we had some ideas of what we were looking for, and then kind of bounce those around. This last video for Sticks and Stones, I don't know, it was awesome, but it felt almost weird because it was so. Well, okay, so the guy who shot the video, his name is Gus Sampson, and he's shot a few videos, and he's kind of like building his portfolio and stuff. But like again, the guy he does phenomenal work. Like we were just really excited to work with him. And Mitch and Scott know him, and it was just one of those like casual conversations, like, hey man, like. Anybody that could help us with the videos? Like, well, I shoot music videos, and it just kind of turned it, and so like that, it worked out for us. Nice. And while they're having a conversation with him about like logistics of the video and what we were looking for, he's like, well, you know what? I'm if you don't mind, I'm going to consult with my friend Darren. Well, you just Google him. And so they Google him and they pull up his Wikipedia page, and Darren has shot and produced videos for pretty much every band you can think of.
Damn. From
like Blink-182 to Shinedown and like.
Damn.
And it's just he's got this immensely crazy portfolio of videos and stuff, and we're like, I'm sorry, how do you know this guy? He's like, oh, go to church with him. He lives here in Moscow. I'm like,
what?
I'm sorry. Why does this guy live in Moscow?
Wow, dude.
I don't know.
He likes it.
You
Yeah.
guys film and like have you filmed all your videos locally?
Yeah, we're in this
We have, yeah. So before the storm, the acting portions we filmed up in Spokane, but the rest of everything's kind of been in the greater Moscow Pullman area. But yeah, I don't know. Like with Sticks and Stones, we walked in and like, I mean, in the best ways, Darren was like so professional. You could tell this was his job.
Legit, yeah.
Like we walked in and it was just like he knew what he wanted, he knew I needed it, and like he was super positive. Like had a team. Like well, he had his family. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
He had his family come and help him like do like intern roles and stuff like that, and like he's kind of teaching his kids to craft. And I don't know, it was really cool to be able
That's awesome.
to be a part of that. But yeah, dude, it was crazy. People were doing stuff everywhere, and everything was getting taken care of, and I don't know, it was a really awesome experience.
Nice. So like, he was probably the most starstruck you've been for.
At least in that,
at
least in
that
real.
regard.
Yeah.
And it's funny because to meet him, like you would never know. Like he's just so like
Modest.
down to earth,
Yeah.
and it's just one of those like you're like, oh, so I see you shot a few videos with China. He's like, oh yeah. Well, he's like, well, the
Yeah,
last
really
video
cool
it was. Oh, I hope I'm not misquoting this. I think it was Cut the Cord. It was the video where they were just kind of in like a tight garage space, and it was kind of a performance video. They shot that at Darren's house up in Moscow.
Crazy.
Because apparently they contacted him and like were looking for a video, and I hope I'm not telling the story incorrectly, but he more or less was like, well, you're gonna have to come to me. Like I can't make that work, but like if you come to me, like I'll help you out and stuff.
You're
And
all
so
there.
they came to Moscow for a week and shot
Yeah.
the video at his house. And but yeah, just to hear him talk about like, oh yeah, you know, like Zach and Brent and those guys, are just
Those
the guy.
Yeah, I
cool.
just seen them, man.
like they're kind of
Oh,
the
yeah.
titans of the current rock scene. Like they're not just those guys.
Hey, yeah.
At least not to me.
You know,
They're
those
opening-
gods, I think, is what he
Godsmack is opening for them, so if that says anything, like,
Yeah, but
it's
I mean,
in my
he's
mind.
just like the nicest guy you could ever hope to meet. And I mean, he kind of produced it and stuff, did a lot of the background and helped Gus like do a lot of the stuff. But I mean, together they put together what we think is a phenomenal video. Like the first time we
I
got
like it a lot. I like the
Yeah,
song
same.
a lot, man. That song is the shit.
like when we first got it, we were kind of Mitch pushed it out to everybody over like Messenger, and we're like, I was sitting on the couch with my girlfriend, and we watched through it, and she's like, oh my god, I literally have chills. I was like, I don't know what to say. And she's like, you don't like it? And I was like, no, it's just so fucking good. I don't know what to say.
Like, you're all thumbs up on
I was like, I don't know. Like the quality is just, I don't know what I was expecting, but this has so far exceeded my expectations. I was like,
Oh yeah, dude, like I said,
So-
when he showed me that, I was like, these guys are from Moscow? He's like, yeah. I was like, what the? And now to hear that was a shot in Moscow by a guy in Moscow, it's like even blowing
Yeah.
my mind more. I'm like, geez,
Yeah.
The
dude.
local is
I-
getting. We got some shit going on around here, so.
I think if Gus wants to do this for a living, I think he is on the right track. Like
Easy,
phenomenal work.
Oh yeah.
All day. Shit. Hell yeah.
Well,
All
man,
right.
this was definitely a great
Yeah, same.
episode.
Yeah.
You guys go and check out Sticks and Stones on YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, same. And yeah,
know where to
big
catch
thanks
us.
to Bob. I keep wanting to say Robert. Nope, we said Bob. Bob for coming on. He's came down from Moscow, which is really awesome. It's a pretty short drive, but kind of long drive, so it's like it's an irritating drive. So we appreciate it, and thank you guys for tuning in for this bonus episode. And you guys can catch us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and help us out on Patreon. You guys can catch these on YouTube, I'm sure Facebook, and pretty much all the same ones I just named off. So
Absolutely.
you guys go check them out. They're crazy. It'll blow your mind, especially if you're local from around here. It's crazy to see the talent like that. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday for actual episode 2. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you later.
Sticks and stones make shards of bone, but words cut through the surface. That's nothing compared to the acts of despair that we